Hi,
Hi, sir. Yeah, you're audible.
how are you? How are you doing?
Yeah, great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Great to see you back. I kind of forgot that there'll be some students joining back. Yeah, but there was only one batch of 11th I was taking, so that's why. Welcome to 12th.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll be making certain changes in this year's teaching. The changes are mostly on my behalf, not on yours, because 11th is quite off. Like 11th is like preparing a catapult, um, kind of a, what do you call, what we call that big catapult on which kids jump, something with T. It's like, so we prepare that for you as a base. Yes, trampoline. So 11th was a trampoline. If you can survive 11th, digest 22 chapters in one go, few of which were deleted to help you. So if you could survive that, I think you can survive anything. So 11th is harder, let me tell you very honestly, than 12th is. 12th is quite human centric, to be very honest. Okay, so we have Rabia joining in. Okay, so two things. Hello Rabia, am I audible to you?
Yes, sir.
How are you?
Fine, sir. How are you?
I'm good. So welcome Iram and Rabia. Iram is I have taught Iram before in class 11th. Abia, you have joined, like this is your first class with me, right? You are a new student to me.
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Okay. Great. So just a couple of things I wanted to change with, of course, your support in this 12th standard is we will be going through a lot of back and forth discussion. So Iram is already aware of my teaching things, and I'll introduce myself to you, Rabia, in a moment. But before that, I wanted to encourage both of you for 12th classes to keep your microphone and cameras both on, if that's possible. If something is like um, totally out of your control, I can understand sometimes families have a lot of background noise in terms of visual noise. That's fine, but at least for some classes, let's not go blank throughout the year. So last year I allowed 11th class because it's a new setup for you to study online, but that's the only way to make it more personal, right? And I think the better the interpersonal bond is between a teacher and a student, it helps later on, especially in 11th, especially in 12th, because you'll be going to decide your trajectory from here. You'll be sitting in examinations, giving boards, and also all that very happy jolly internal school setup, your own teachers. So you're going to step out in the outer world in very short. So if you both have no problems, please keep your microphone and cameras on so I can connect with you better. I can also see who's paying attention and who's not. That's the whole idea. That's the whole selfish motive of mine. Anyway, so I'll just introduce myself. I have Iram already knows me. So Rabia, my name is Rahul Kushwaha, and I am one of the faculties of biology at Learnivio. And I have been teaching. Teaching is a passion of mine. It's not my like primary profession, but I love teaching, and I've been teaching from last. It's my 7th year into teaching and preparing students for boards, NEET, even for careers in biological research, biotechnology, etc. So I myself primarily I'm from research background. I'm pursuing my research career in neuroscience. I'm currently pursuing my PhD in neurosciences and adaptive behavior. And that's all. I'm fascinated by whole biology. It's kind of um, very obvious that it's my favorite subject. And um, yeah, that's all. So over time, I think we'll know each other better. If you have any questions, you can ask. If not, let's go through a short introduction of both of you as well. How about we start, let's start alphabetically. Let's start with Iram and then Rabia. So basically, your introduction, what I want to know is your name, your basics, and then after that, how was your 11th class in terms of the subject. You can also talk about science in general, because as we will go forward, I will make you realize more and more that these divisions of biology, chemistry, and physics are just so that you as students can be managed better, your examinations can be better, and things like that. After a point of time, whatever you become in life, of course your principle, your domain will be some speciality, but it's never going to happen that you will just be using biology in your life, or chemistry, or physics, or mathematics. They're all intertwined. But I would like to know, how was your 11th class in terms of biology? How do you feel about the subject? And don't say that you like the subject if you don't, because I started not liking the subject, and today, after studying this subject for more than a decade and almost a decade and a half, I'm making a career in it. So everything is possible. Okay, so let's start with Iram. Iram, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes. Just a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes. Hello. My name is Iram Sheikh. I belong from Maharashtra, India. I currently stay here in Doha, Qatar, and I've been staying here since my childhood. Uh,
And how do you feel about your 11th class in terms of
yeah.
science and biology specifically?
Specifically biology, it was tough. I scored 83 out of 100 in 11th.
That's very impressive, actually, Iram. Let me tell you. I think if I remember correctly, I was somewhere around the same in my 11th class. 11th is tough, yes. As I started with, yes.
And in 11th, when I started loving biology, initially I didn't love it so much, but in 11th, I started loving it.
Okay, and what do you wish to do forward?
I wish to become a gastroenterologist.
Gastroenterologist. Wow, that's amazing and very specific. Any reasons for that?
I just love the alimentary canal and the things
Nice.
related
But
with it.
do you also realize that this is not to demotivate you, because I do appreciate that you have realized something that you would like to pursue in life, and which means that you have given a proper thought to your career seriously. But many of the GIT diseases, infections, disorders do not hold that reputation, when we talk about, because I have not, to be very honest, I have not yet, no student of mine till date has told me that they want to become a gastroenterologist. They have been cardiologists, they have been neurosurgeons, they have been pediatricians, they have been even veterinary doctor, but this is something unique and amazing at the same time. Great. So I hope you will, I'll help you to love the human system and the GIT more in this session as well. Okay, that's great. Thank you so much for sharing. Rabia, what about you?
Yes, sir. My name is Rabia Fatima. I'm half Hyderabadi and half Maharashtrian. I'm currently staying in Jeddah,
Okay.
and yeah.
So if you don't mind me asking, which half, like paternal or maternal, is Hyderabadi? Like, I just wanted to know how much Nawabi is there in your
Sir, it's maternal. Maternal side is
maternal. Even
Hyderabadi.
that's great. That's even stronger. Great. Okay. So how do you feel about that? How do you feel about your identity as half Hyderabadi and half Maharashtrian? You said, and you
Sir,
living outside both of these territories.
yes, sir. I usually tell people that I'm from Hyderabad rather than saying Maharashtrian because I usually live
I
in
see. I see.
Hyderabad. So
Okay. So you mean when you visit back India, you stay in Hyderabad?
yes, sir.
Okay. So that's great. So and how was your 11th class with respect to biology and science?
It was all right for me. The zoology part, the human psychology, physiology, it was all
Mhm.
clear for me. But the botany and the plants physiology, it was quite hard for me, and
Right.
it took me quite long to understand the topics of
Mm. Mhm.
botany chapters because there was a lot of complex terms, and it was hard for me to like remember all of them. So
Right. Right. I
yeah.
completely agree with that. Botany also for many reasons because most of the life on the planet we see around either are plants or animals, right? And for a very obvious reason that we belong to the animal kingdom, we have a inherent nick for loving animal system more, but that's not true for everyone. But when we start biology, for us it is like the life, the things that move, which are more interesting. So we often get this myth, I'll say, or this false notion in our heads that plants are not cool. It's animals who are cool, they have all sorts of things. And but that's entirely false. Plants are way cooler, and if not more than equally cool as animal life is. I also agree with you that the way botany part or the plant physiology or plant anatomy part is taught in the books is a little boring, right? Tedious, a lot of things to learn. So that's true. So learning load is a lot in biology, and about that we will talk in a moment. But yes, so what do you wish to do now in 12th and beyond? Do you have any plans?
Yes, sir. After 12th, I'm probably gonna give NEET exam,
Mhm.
and yeah, inshallah, let's see.
Yeah, inshallah. And okay, so you want to become a doctor?
Yes, sir, a
Great.
psychiatrist.
A psychiatrist, that's amazing. So like my PhD advisor is is both is cross appointed in both department of biology and psychology. So I got this opportunity to read some psychology, learn some human and animal psychology both, and that's amazing. So do you want to become a clinician, like a clinical psychologist, a counselor?
Probably a counselor.
Counselor. Okay, that's great. Thank you so much for sharing that. And okay, so let's begin. So in today's class, I just wanted to keep it introductory and to know and to let you know that whatever you have done till 11th, if your 11th was strong and if you are happy with your 11th performance and you think that you learned quite significant amount of biology, uh, then that's great. So I was just telling Iram that 11th is like that trampoline on which you just jump and take a shoot, and 12th is comparatively easier if your 11th is in grip. But even if it is not, that's not a problem, because in 12th we have time. We have 16 chapters in total, and I think out of those also there are a couple of chapters that are omitted from the CBSE, but we are not going to leave them untouched at all. And we are going to study some basics of everything, but we have some time. And like both of you want to become doctors, so after 12th you are going to give NEET entrance. So let me tell you at the beginning, and towards the end of the session we will be coming back to this discussion, so remember this, that 60%, it's natural, because 60% of, if you combine 11th and 12th, so you will realize that the weightage of 11th is more, right? Just by the sheer number of chapters which are more, and they are more conceptual chapters as well. So around 55 to 60% dominancy in entrance is of class 11th. So whenever I will teach something new in 12th, I'll always go back to the roots, because those roots you must have studied in class 10th. So your ninth is in detail elaborated in class 11th, and your 10th standard biology is in detail elaborated in class 12th. And I think that's clear, right? That's obviously clear to both of you. So now coming to how are we going to study? So if you both decide to stick with me, I think you will get options. If you don't want to stick with me, you can take trial classes from other teachers, and I highly encourage you to do so. If you are not at all satisfied with any teacher on Learnivio, that's the one thing which is good at this platform. We don't force anything on you. Okay. And why I'm saying this, because it does not matter how good a teacher is. What matters is how good I'm able to give the concepts to you. So it's a two-way process. It's not like if I claim that I'm a good teacher, I'll be a good teacher for everyone. I'll try my best. Okay. And my teaching style, which I'll talk in a minute, is slightly different because it comes from a research background. So I like to question things, and I like students who question things, even what I am telling them. Okay. Though in my best capacity, no one can say that they're the master of any student, master of any subject. But uh, to the best of my abilities, I will tell you everything that has proof and everything that is scientifically backed by evidence in these classes. But still, at any given point of time, if you have questions, you are most welcome to cross question, ask for evidences, discuss, because that's what will make you clear the entrance. See, everyone reads the same NCERT. Okay. It's not like those who are toppers or who get better ranks, they just cram everything, they just know everything, and they have good memory. So they're not hard drives giving an entrance, they're actually good processors. So it's about the processing power of you in the subject. The way I teach has two aspects. One is the experiences that students share with me in these 6-7 years that I have taught. So they give entrances or exams, they reach back and they share their experiences. That has shaped my teaching style a lot. And second thing, the kind of same exams, entrances, and stages I have gone through in life, from my BSc, bachelor's, master's to the PhD, and most of it was research oriented. So that also shapes a lot of my teaching. Okay. Now let me share a screen with you all. Can you all see the screen that can you both see the screen that I'm sharing?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay, just let me arrange this a little. Okay, very good. Okay, so yes, so I was saying that just because I am saying something to you, or just because something is written as a statement in NCERT, it does not necessarily mean that you just have to take it as a truth set in stone. I will not tell you something which is not true. That's there. But still you have the right to question everything for two reasons. One, very obvious, simple, practical reason. You're paying for these classes. So I am entitled to give you answers. Okay. Second, it's always about sharing of knowledge. Okay. If you think that you know something, or you have read something, or you have heard something, or you have some doubt coming from your family or people in your family, someone who's a doctor or a scientist or a researcher or a PhD or anyone, and you want to share it in class and want to get more clarity on it, you should do that. In my classes, we have also discussed where students, one of my student, she was in 12th, I was teaching her the last session, and she did very well in her biology boards. So she was just very curiously, she was just having breakfast, eating broccoli, and she got curious about broccoli, how humans, how humans made broccoli. So, broccoli is not a natural thing. It's not a natural plant. You both know about broccoli, right? Cauliflower, cabbage, broccoli, they're all coming from a family of domesticated plants, the wild type of which is called kelps in the wild. So she was just curious how broccoli develops. And what is the part that I'm eating? Is broccoli a vegetable? Like, is it a fruit or is it some other part that people eat? So we had a discussion in class about broccoli, and that discussion seeped into understanding the inflorescence pattern, because in class 12th you also study about the inflorescence pattern, right? Am I correct? Yeah. So the floral formula and stuff, that also is important. So please feel free to bring any topic from science. I'll encourage it. May or may not be restricted to NCERT. It can be something that you observe in your day-to-day life, or something you are just curious about. For example, about gut, if Iram wants to become a gastroenterologist, uh, gut is, do you know, Iram, that there is a very popular school of thought that believes that actually gut is the command center of a body, of human body, not the brain. And it means not the brain means everything we know about brain and gut is true, but some of the commands related to our immunity, related to our homeostasis, also comes from gut. It is the gut that makes the first decision in many things, and then sends a signal to brain, which brain processes and sends back as a feedback. So those are very interesting things, you know, and we'll discuss some of these later on. Okay, so if you both, anyone has a question about me or the classes in general? Iram, any question till now? Iram and Rabia? Yes, no?
No.
No, sir, not really.
Okay, so let me in the first class tell you something about the class framework in class 12. So because you just finished your class 11th, initially we will start with some fundamentals, ground fundamentals of biology, and we'll start with the first few, chapter 1 and chapter 2, and it will be Monday and Wednesday. These 2 days work for you, both of you? Monday, Wednesday? Yes, works for Iram. Oh, I forgot. So Iram is very good
Yes,
with these
sir.
emojis. Okay, so yeah, we can use that same culture. So anything you have to say yes to, give a thumbs up anytime. And yes, please, so it's the first class, so I understand you both will not be prepared, but from the next class, please find a place for yourself where you can be in peace when you're studying with me, and where you can keep your microphone and cameras on. That will be appreciated. Okay, so Monday and Wednesday will be the classes. Initially, we'll start with 1 hour long class, and based on the, like, once I'm confident that both of you are on the same page, or a few more who will join you in this batch, we all are on the same page, we will increase it to 1.5 hours. Okay, because we will need some more in-depth discussions. My classes, as I told you, they are never monologue, they are a dialogue. So you and me together will drive the class. Of course, in the capacity of a teacher, there are certain roles that I will, roles and responsibilities that I'll have. All the notes that I will dictate you in class. So class notes will be more than enough for you to clear any subjective exam, your school exams, boards, everything. Okay. Apart from our discussions and notes, we will also spend time right from the beginning on MCQ concepts. Okay. So whatever chapter we are doing, along with that chapter, we will keep solving certain questions, which we know have come in previously in the entrances. Is it clear for both of you, Iram, Rabia?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. And all of this, your discussions, notes, MCQs, together will constitute your class performance. Okay. And this class performance matters because at the end of every month, we have to, as teacher, we will be compiling a report of your performance in the class that will be sent to you. and your parents on a regular basis, based on which there'll be also some tests, regular tests in the class, in class tests, and towards the towards the end, when you will be nearing your exams, first half and the second half exams, before the boards and before the half yearlies, there'll be series of tests also. Okay, so that will also be, so class performance plus tests, and of course I'll give class assignments daily. Okay, so sometimes they will be, okay, sorry, so sometimes there will be assignments that you have to do and submit. Sometimes I'll give you assignments that you have to do and come up with in the next class. So there will be concept based assignments, or I'll give you something to find and read about, which will be interesting and still related to the subject and your syllabus, of course. Okay, now I think I have done this exercise. I always do this exercise when I start class 12th. So there are certain problems in studying biology. Okay, so it's not like I'm a teacher of biology and I'm pursuing a career in biology, then I will defend biology every time and say that everything in biology is happy and green. Biology is a very, very easy subject to pass. Okay, if your motive is to clear exams, it's very easy, because most of the part that will just make you pass an exam is theoretical. You just have to know, if you know 30-40 questions and their answers from all the 16 chapters, there are high chances you will pass. But biology is a very difficult subject to master, because it asks you to think. It asks you to think how you think life should be behaving, or how you think evolution should have worked, or how you think biotechnology makes sense, or how you think all these medicines. So everything around you use is a product of science. Okay, healthcare, food primarily comes from biology and chemistry, and your gadgets, electricity, and all this technology primarily comes from chemistry and physics, and of course maths is there all the time. So there are two things which are problematic with biology. One is memorization, right? Too much to learn and remember, correct? Rabia? So that is one reason actually that people are aversive from biology. And the second is terminologies, the words. There are so many technical terms in biology, so many technical jargon. For everything there is a biological word. For every organism there is a biological name, a scientific name. For every process, like they will not say that I am a doctor of intestines and the gut, but I am a gastroenterologist, I am a cardiologist, cardiovascular system. So all these words which we don't use in day-to-day life are heavily used in biology. So memorization of answers and then understanding the terms, these two are the first hurdles I'll make you cross in my class. So the way my classes are structured, we take off the memorization load by discussing. Okay, and because it's my duty to make you understand, just like when you will become a doctor, a good doctor should always discuss the medicines and how are they going to help the patient with the patient. I understand that for many practical reasons and lack of education in the patients, doctors don't do that many times, but you should at least try to simplify it and tell them that, see, this is a painkiller I am giving you, this will help you with pain, but that is not the permanent solution. So the person should know the pros and cons of taking it, right? This is an antibiotic and why I'm giving you. So you must have seen doctors practicing this very common thing. Someone has a viral infection, you go to a doctor and they'll give you paracetamol and a bunch of antibiotics. Have you seen that happening?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Did you ever ask the doctor that why are you giving me antibiotics? I'm not suffering from a bacterial infection, I'm suffering from a viral infection, right? As you diagnosed, antibiotics are not going to touch the virus at all. They are not going to do anything to the virus. So why doctors give patients antibiotics when they are suffering from viral infections? Have you ever thought of it? You both are planning to become doctors, so you have to start thinking along the lines, what kind of doctor would you like to be? So do you think it's a good practice or it's a bad practice? What is your hunch? What is your opinion? I'm not asking for a right answer, okay? And please do not hesitate in giving wrong answers in my class, okay? In fact, I want you to give all the wrong answers in the class so that there is no wrong answer left for your examinations. So that's what discussion is. Do you think that doctors prescribing antibiotics for viral infections is a good practice or a bad practice?
A good practice.
A good practice. I think Rabia believes it's a good practice. And why do you believe so, Rabia? What is your rationale behind believing so? So let me just tell you before you answer, we don't have good antivirals to give to the patients, right? We don't have very effective antiviral drugs. Yes. Now, why do you think it's a good practice? Just your opinion. It doesn't. No, opinions are not right or wrong. They're opinions.
So I just feel like it's a good practice to give
Yes.
antibiotics to the viruses because
Because, like, do you believe that it is helping the patient, right? At least doctors are giving something that's helping the patient, right? That's what
yes, so
that's what you think. What about you, Iram? Do you think it's a good practice or a bad practice?
Maybe no.
You feel it's not a good practice?
Yeah.
Yeah, and what is your rationale behind thinking the opposite? See, it's very good that both of you happen to have opposite opinions on this, because that's how you learn science the best. So what is your rationale behind thinking it's not a good practice? I'm just
It's
trying
not
to,
gonna work
yeah.
anyway, right? So what's the use?
Yeah, right. You have a point. So it's like I'm suffering from something else, giving me something else. It's not going to help me directly, to get rid of the viruses. So why are you loading my system with unnecessary drugs, right? Is that your rationale?
Yeah.
Yeah. So makes sense. Makes sense. So what Rabia said, let me come to the evidences that we have now. Okay. So this is how we discuss. Okay. I'm trying to take hesitation out of you before I start teaching you modes of reproduction in lower organisms and higher organisms and come to plant and animal reproduction. Before that, let's talk in general about science. So people don't think about it. When doctors give something, first doctors don't explain to the patients why are they giving them the medicine. There are reasons for it. I think it also region specific. So in countries like India, where there is a load of patients per doctor is very high. So for each and every doctor, there is more than 10,000 patients in government hospitals. If you see the ratio of patients coming in and the number of doctors available. So doctors clearly don't have that time and energy to explain each and every patient what's happening to them and what medicines they are being given. But in countries where population is relatively low and balanced, and you have the doctor and the patient ratio is very less, like patient per doctor is very less, their doctors usually do that. And I've also seen this practice in many private hospitals or in institutional medical centers. Like in my university, we have a medical center where students can go when they are sick. So the doctors there give proper time to each and every student or professor or anyone who's a patient and talk to them about what's happening to them, why are they giving these medicines, how are they going to help, and for how long they should take the dose, etc., etc. So I'll first come to Rabia's point, and what Rabia believes is not entirely incorrect. So antibiotics, the thought when doctors started prescribing antibiotics to patients was that already your system is fighting with a viral infection. We cannot do much to help the system fight the viral infection. But what we can do is we can seal the other caveats, other gaps. So what if the system is already under a viral attack and a bacterial infection also overrides? So at least let me give antibiotics so that by the time the immune system is fighting with the virus, there is no add-on bacterial infection or the chances of that bacterial infection to override the system. Makes sense, right, Iram? Makes sense to you?
Yeah.
That immune system is compromised at the moment, there is infection in the body, so let me help at other fronts if I cannot help the patient directly with the viral fight. So that was the thing with which people started, and this is the time when antibiotics were discovered. Not many antibiotics were there in the market, and antibiotics work like magic. But do you know, both of you, Rabia and Iram, that today antibiotics do not have that reputation. They are not that much effective against bacteria. Bacteria have developed resistance against antibiotics, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And one of the reasons for that resistance is this very practice that we are talking about. So when you start giving any kind of a patient suffering from viral infection, bacterial infection, or any kind of other infection, or food poisoning, gastrointestinal infection, anything, you just give antibiotics, then what happens is you are giving the bacteria in the ecosystem or in the body unnecessary exposure. Okay. So bacteria do not need that exposure because you are not killing all the bacteria. So, and oftentimes doctor will give you a medication for 5 days. This is also a very common practice. I'm just telling you what happens in society and why studying biology is important and becoming doctors is even more important. So doctors give you a dose of 5 days, which includes 10 tablets of antibiotics, one in the morning, one in the evening. After 3 days, you feel amazing. You're fine. Your viral infection is well fought by your immune system, so you don't have to take paracetamol. So you stop taking paracetamol and you stop taking antibiotics as well because you are fine, right? This, I think, almost all of us must have done or seen people doing in our families, correct?
Yeah.
If I'm
Yes,
okay on
sir.
the third day, why should I take extra 2 days of medicine? I'm fine. I'm going back to my school and office. Why should I carry medicine and take that medicine when I'm completely fit? But this is where we fail to educate the society how these things work. So dosage is not something that if I'm giving you 5 days of medicine, you will start feeling better on the fifth day. Dosage is calculated on the basis of clearing the infection root in, root out. Okay, what it means is you will start feeling better the moment your immune system takes control, takes back the control. But taking back the control does not mean that everything in the body is fine. For that matter, every moment, even right now, you both are feeling good, you both are feeling okay, healthy, fine. No one has any viral cold, sneeze, cough, right? Yes or no? Do
Yes.
you
Yes,
have
sir.
no elements? So do you think that all your immune system is on a holiday, on a vacation, not doing anything because nothing is contracting you? You are not having any infection. So what is your immune system doing at the moment? What do you think? Nothing, right? Enjoying holiday. Do you think like that? Is that true?
No.
No,
No.
sir.
No.
So what is your immune system doing? Some other work, not the immune work, but some other work? What is your idea? What is your opinion? Okay,
Um, I
yeah, yes. Please tell me, Rabia.
I feel like the immune system, it is preparing itself for the future infections and diseases.
Okay,
Um,
okay. Okay,
yeah,
so yeah, right. So by saying that statement, you are assuming that currently there is no fight going on. It's just the training, right? It's the
yes,
training
sir.
period, no fight. Okay, okay. And what do you think, Iram? What is your immune system doing? It might be behaving very differently from Rabia's. So you have You have all the rights to give your answer. What do you think your immune system is doing at the moment?
The same thing as she said. I believe so.
Same thing. It's on a break and it's training itself for the fight which is going to come, right? You both are not completely incorrect, but let me tell you, there is never a moment in your body when there is no fight between the immune system and something. Okay, because human body has so many openings that directly take things from environment. First is our mouth. Okay, we eat, we drink, we breathe through our nose, our eyes, our ears, our skin. We often get in small injuries all the time, right? Some bruises against the wall, walking in the garden, falling on something like a spiny plant or something, or just playing with siblings and getting a cut or things like that. So every time you wake up, you are in the environment. If you are not living in a glass house, your immune system is fighting something that is trying to come from outside to inside. The air in your house does not matter which air purifier you are using, does not matter howsoever sanitized you keep your air in the house, or howsoever conditioned you keep the air in the house. There will always be fungal spores, there will always be viruses, there will always be bacteria around you. Always. It's not possible to make an environment except for in a lab. So in a lab, we make sterile environment for reasons, to do research. Our homes can never be that clean. Okay, for obvious reasons, because we clean, we take bath, we cook food, we defecate. Everything is happening in that system. So all the time, bacteria and viruses are trying to enter our system, but all the time there is no, but most of the time there is no infection, because they can never overpower the immune system. So immune system is like soldiers on the border. It's not like when we are not at war with someone, there's nothing. There is always a constant micro small conflicts that our immune system is resolving all the time. Okay, so that's what happens. Now coming back to the antibiotic part, so that's what happens. Some bacteria are always there in the system. When we give antibiotics, we should always complete the dose, but people stop doing that because they felt good on the third day. This does not mean everything has been killed from your body. It means that immune system is back in control, hence you are feeling okay, because you are feeling okay right now also, because your immune system is in control. So we stop taking, so we give a half treatment to the bacteria which are already there in your body. With that half treatment, it's like torture but not killing. So when you torture someone or some organism and not kill it, the organism becomes more ferocious and learns your ways of torture and tries to evolve tactics against it. The same thing bacteria does. When we expose bacteria to antibiotics but do not expose enough to kill them, if they survive that exposure, they will become resistant. They will find ways. So next time when there is a real infection, and if you're giving the same antibiotic in the same dosage, it might not work, because bacteria will find a way to evade and to still grow in that antibiotic condition. That is what has happened for the last 50-60 years. And today, because of this overuse of antibiotics, the opposite thing is prescribed to doctors by researchers, that please do not prescribe antibiotics in viral infections. Keep some antibiotics. So some antibiotics by governments and by health organizations, or the National Health Organization or the World Health Organization, have been declared to only be used in very limited scenarios. If we will exhaust all our antibiotics by overexposing and misusing it or overusing it, then imagine people who are undergoing surgeries, imagine people who are undergoing treatment for cancers, tumor removals, or very severe transplant operations. For them, we will not have any antibiotic left, because those are the people who are more vulnerable to bacterial infection, because their body was cut open and then put back. So we don't want them to get infection. So there are certain antibiotics which are not over the counter. You cannot procure it. Yes, Iram.
So the COVID-19 dose which we got was a type of antibiotic, right?
No, it was a type. It was a vaccine. So COVID was a virus. No antibiotic can do anything for a virus. So what we got was vaccination. Vaccination. I'll teach you about vaccination and both. I'll teach you about vaccination and immunization, active and passive, in great detail in class 12. But those are not antibiotics. If you're talking about the shots, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, those were vaccines. Those were mRNA vaccines, to be very specific. Now vaccines have also changed a lot over time, uh, right from the first vaccine that was made against smallpox to now. Now we no longer use the microorganism or the virus that cause the disease or the bacteria that cause the disease. We use a mRNA technology, about which I'll teach you later on. Okay, but do you understand, Rabia, that it started with a good intention, but now it's not a good practice, because what you are doing is you are unnecessarily exposing bacteria to antibiotics, and then you will just stop the dose in between, and that will help the bacteria, not us, in a long run. And that's the problem that we are facing. We are running out of all good potential antibiotics at the moment. Okay, so people say that the next pandemic is going to be a bacterial one, because we don't have good antibiotics left. Penicillin, streptomycin, kanamycin, amoxicillin, all these are not working against many of the bacterial strains. Okay. Okay, cool. So this was a good part to discuss, and I'm happy that you both are discussing and not hesitating. So discussions lead to concepts. Okay. And once you have concepts in your head, you need not to memorize. Because if I'll ask you a different question but on the same concept, you just have to apply the concept. Concepts in biology are like the formulas in physics and mathematics. So if you know the formula, for example, you know the formula to calculate force, given that in a question I give you mass and acceleration, right? You also know how to calculate acceleration given there is velocity and time. So if in a question I just give you velocity, time, and mass, you will first find acceleration, then you will multiply mass with acceleration to find force. So that is a concept. You don't have to do different things for. Now I can give you hundreds of different questions, but you can use the same formula to derive the answer. Is that true, for physics?
Yeah.
Right? People think that in biology we cannot do that. That's wrong. We can do that. In biology, the formulas just come in words. They are not, in alphabets and digits. There will be certain formulas in biology also that are like mathematic formula. So 12th is going to be a little mathematics heavy biology, especially the genetics part, Mendelian genetics, when I will come to that. So you're going to get a flavor of everything in 12th. So once you have the concepts, your memorization load goes drastically down. You don't have to remember each and every answer. Just know that, oh, the question is about cell division, and I know that cell division follows this rule. So by following this rule, this could not be the answer, and this could be the answer, and you write that answer, and that will be true most of the times. Why I'm saying most? Because there are certain exceptions about which we will talk every time we will study a topic. So first part is clear, I guess, how we will deal with the memorization load. Is it clear to both of you?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Second is terminologies. Now what to do with these terms? Biology seems to have its own language. No one talks in normal English words, but that's the point. Science cannot be done in vernacular languages very effectively, because then we cannot communicate it with other parts of the world, people from other parts of the world. So we need to get some common language, which happens to be the scientific language oftentimes. And these scientific words, which are very difficult jargons, have their roots either in Greek or Latin. Most of the biological terminologies come either from Greek or Latin words. Okay. But the good thing is, again, if you understand what one term means, it will stay constant everywhere it appears in biology. To give you an example, Iram wants to become a gastroenterologist, right?
Yeah.
Gastroenterologist. Very good. A big word, a very interesting word. You know, the word gastro always in biology is related to stomach. It comes from
Yeah.
the word gastric. Okay, the gastra. It has its roots in the Greek with gastra. Gastric means a stomach, a bag which has space and that can digest. So that's stomach. The word entero, I think there's a double R here, or I'm not sure if it is there, is related with intestine all the time. And the word logi means logic or study. Now I'll give you some examples of it. Using the same root word, if I give you a word gastritis, it is a disorder, it's a disease actually that happens in humans, and I'm sure that a whole load of it Iram will be treating when she will become a gastroenterologist in the future, inshallah. So she will be treating gastritis. Now you know by now, so simply with this fact that you know now, the word gastro here also, or the gastry, means what, Rabia? What does the word gastro means here?
Stomach.
Stomach. Now you all you need to do is to know what does itis means. Anyone knows what does itis means? I think Iram might be knowing.
So is it inflammation?
Yes, perfect. It's inflammation, Rabia. Now you know two words. That's how biology becomes simple. Gastro means stomach, itis means inflammation. Now let me ask you, what does what does the word cardio means in biology?
Heart.
It's always associated with heart.
Heart, yeah.
Perfect. Yes. Now cardio word you must have heard at multiple places. If you are getting trained in a gym, when you go to gym, there are exercises that are called cardio exercises. Cardio exercises are those exercises that increase your heartbeat. So those are for heart. Okay. You also must be knowing cardiac arrest, heart attack.
Yeah.
When heart stops beating is called cardiac arrest. Cardiomyocyte. Okay, the cells of the heart are called cardiocytes or cardiomyocytes. So the word cardio is heart. Now, without I teaching you anything about a disease, let me ask you a name. Okay, what I was. So if I ask you, what does the word arthritis means? Can you tell me what does arthritis mean in biology?
Inflammation of bones, in the bones.
Inflammation, you are right, because you picked the itis part perfectly. Bones in biology are
Joints.
called osteo. Okay. The word arthro, I know Rabia has studied arthro in class 11th. So Iram, I would ask you, just allow Rabia to remember, because I'm sure that you know it. Rabia, do you remember where did you study the word arthro in class 11th?
In locomotion and movement.
Okay, and what was the word that you studied? And locomotion and movement. What was that word? Do you remember that? You know, a very simple other.
So I can
There was.
remind.
Yeah, there was one more place where you studied the word arthro. Very easy. The moment I'll say it or Iram will say it, you will say, yes, yes, I remember that. Iram, what was that word?
Arthropoda.
Arthropoda. You remember studying that, Rabia?
Yes, in the animal kingdom.
Exactly. So we often, so from animal kingdom to human physiology, let me connect a link. The word arthro means joints. So arthropoda, that whole phylum, was called arthropoda because the members of that phylum had joint appendages, right? Insects. If you look at an insect leg, it will look like it is assembled with different units, right? Insect leg looks like this, right? One
Yes,
unit,
sir.
2 unit, 3 unit, and they are jointed together. Like sometimes these toys that come for kids, the dolls, you can join the limbs like that. So they look like they have joints on the outside. So they're called arthropoda. Poda means appendages. So arthritis means joint inflammation. So inflammation of joints. Do you understand, Rabia and Ira?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
This is just an example I'm giving you, that this way, throughout the year, we are going to make biology easier one step at a time. And for dealing the second part specifically, what I always ask all my students is to maintain a terminology section. I know that some of these things are a repeat for Iram, but I think it's good reminding you that you have to make a terminology section. Either you leave first few pages of your notebook, which you will maintain for my subject, a separate notebook, leave first few pages vacant or the last few pages empty. And in that page, you will divide it into two parts. You will write terminology and meaning. So what I intend to do with this is, by the end of the session this year, you will be compiling a kind of a mini biology dictionary of your own. Okay, and that will help you a lot for your entrances and boards. Make sense, Rabia and Iram?
Yes, sir.
Cool. So this is how I'm going to conduct these classes, and you have to be, so again, I'll just reiterate quickly before we finish for today. This was to orient you. So today's class was an orientation class, and I'll also tell you what you have to prepare for the next class. So to just repeat things, there are three major rules. One is, don't try to miss the class. That's the first major rule. Second is, be vocal, discuss, ask questions, ask for proofs. If I'm saying something and it doesn't make sense to you, just say, you have all the right to say that, but that doesn't make sense to me. Can you please elaborate? Or how does that happen? I like students who cross question, and it's not, for many teachers get offended when they explain something and the student is like, but how does that happen? Doesn't make sense. They're like, you just remember that, right? But I like the opposite. If I'll say something to you and you will just say, yeah, okay, you know, I'll be like, either I was not good enough to instigate curiosity in you, or you were not taking me seriously and you just, you know, you came to listen to a story. I told you a story, you realized it. So if things are making sense to you, then only accept it. And third thing, from this session onwards, please try to interact both vocally and physically. It will be great for me and a motivation for me to be looking at some faces and not just an empty screen with names while I'm teaching. So find a place, find a study corner for you at your place, and tell your family to cooperate, because you're studying biology. You're going to become doctors. So all the training begins now. Okay, right from here. Is it cool, Iram and Rabia?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, sir.
Any questions, any doubts before I give you the homework for the day? Anything you want to ask me?
So,
No, sir.
Yes, Iram.
so you're going to start with reproduction unit?
Yes, I'll start with reproduction unit first. We can also, I also used to begin with genetics unit, but the point is, I've realized most of the schools follow a straight path in 12th. In 11th, they are very tortuous. They go from one chapter to another and then jump back in and out. But 12th is pretty like
So in
straightforward.
my school, they started with genetics, and I have exam coming up.
Okay, that's great. So when is your exam coming up?
It's on 10th of April.
10th of April.
Yeah, it's a
Wow.
unit
So
test for 2
it's a unit
chapters.
test. Okay, so Rabia, what's your school like? What is your school doing currently in biology?
So you mean the chapters?
Yes. What's going on?
Right now we're doing chapter 2, reproduction in flowering plants.
That's amazing. So we have to take a call then. Okay. So Iram, how about we start with reproduction? I'll tell you the reason for that. For your unit test, I can
Me
keep helping you.
sampling.
Okay. But my reason to teach reproduction first is because when we go to genetics, genetics has a lot of foundation in gametes, how gametes are formed. Okay, and that I teach in reproduction unit. So it will be like holding the ear from the other end. If I teach genetics first, that can also be done. It's not like it cannot be done, and school mostly do it because genetics is a very heavy chapter for boards, so they want you to study genetics first and they will keep asking you in unit test, then in half yearly, it will be repeated multiple times if they cover it first. I also see they are rational, but let's go with reproduction first. Will that work for you,
Yeah, it's okay.
I'll help through and through with genetics, not a problem. Okay.
Okay.
And it's unit test, so don't worry much. Okay, so we'll start with reproduction, and what I want both of you to do is to go back and just read chapter 1. Okay, and when I say read, please do honestly read it. Just read chapter 1. It's an introduction to basic reproductive things in lower organisms, and then moving to higher organisms. But it's an important chapter, not from majorly from board or entrance point of view, but it is important for your concepts, and that is what we will focus on. So we will read chapter 1, and I'll see you both of you on Wednesday, same time. Okay. Yep. Hiram.
Okay.
Rabia?
Okay, so
Thank you.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Okay, great. Take care. So see you in the next class. Bye bye.
thank you, sir.
Bye.
Bye bye.